Once more, welcome to our YouTube channel, MN Art. We are offering you educational content to help our high school level of education students to continue learning while they are having their safe stay at home. So welcome to our second lesson, Christian Religious Education, where we are talking about the Isaiah prophecies that point out to the second coming of the Messiah. Remember to subscribe so that you can get notifications of our content as they come up. You're welcome to Christian Religious Education, Form 2, Lesson 2.
Hello, I am Sarah, and we are in our Form 2 work. We are talking about God meeting us in Jesus Christ, and our topic today is about the Old Testament prophecies about the Messiah, and we are going to focus on the prophecies according to Prophet Isaiah. So you are welcome, we start off by saying that the prophecies according to Prophet Isaiah are just one of the prophecies of the Old Testament. Last lesson we talked about the Davidic prophecies about the Messiah, and these are also other prophecies about the Messiah, and these ones were given by Prophet Isaiah. Prophet Isaiah was a major prophet in the land of Israel, and he addressed issues that were affecting the Israelites during his time, contemporary issues. He also addressed issues that were to come, and some of the issues that he addressed were concerned about a future king, future leadership. When Isaiah was predicting, the Israelites were in their land. They had not been carried away into captivity. Isaiah talked to people who were in their land, and he was telling them, warning them very well, that you people, you need to change your ways. Live righteous lives. Otherwise, you will be carried away and you'll be taken into captivity. He also talked about now a future leader, a future king who could come to deliver the people of Israel from the captivity that they will find themselves in. And so the Bible has that story in the book of Isaiah, and that is what we are going to look at. So these predictions of the Messiah are found in the book of Isaiah chapter 7, in the book of Isaiah chapter 7, verse 10 to 16, in the book of Isaiah chapter 9, verse 1 to 7, in the book of Isaiah chapter 61, verse 1 to 2, and in the book of Isaiah chapter 63. I have said the predictions of Jesus Christ, the predictions of the Messiah in the book of Isaiah are found in the book of Isaiah chapter 7, verse 10 to 16, chapter 9, verse 1 to 7, chapter 61, verse 1 and 2, and chapter 63. Isaiah was very clear. He gave a very clear picture about this king who could be born. These are about 2,000 years before Jesus Christ was born. But it was very clear about this story, and therefore we find out that the life of Jesus Christ perfectly fulfills the words of Isaiah. Among the prophecies that we have in chapter 7 include that Jesus said that a virgin will conceive, a young woman will conceive and give birth to a baby boy. And the baby boy could be called Emmanuel, which means God with us. Isaiah was very clear. He said a young woman will become pregnant. She will give birth to a baby. A young woman will become pregnant, give birth to a baby boy, and she will call him Emmanuel. That was from the mouth of David. And this is what we are going to have in the life of Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ was born of Mary, a young woman. And Jesus Christ was a man. So when he was born, he was a baby boy. And he was called Emmanuel. He talked of this king and they gave him great titles. He said, the king who could be born in the land of Israel, the king who could rule the land of Israel, could be called a wonderful counselor, a mighty God, eternal Father, everlasting Father, and a Prince of Peace. Those are the great titles that he gave to the king, to the child who could be born and he could rule the land of Israel. These things we see them in the life of Jesus Christ. He was a great counselor, a wonderful counselor. You know, he was a Prince of Peace. He is an eternal leader, and leaders are fathers. He is an everlasting king. Isaiah said that the king could rule with righteousness and peace during his kingdom, during his time when he is in the office. The land could be full of peace, could be characterized with peace and tranquility. That is what Isaiah says. And later, Isaiah talked of the king of Israel could be an anointed king. The Messiah could be anointed. He could be anointed with the Spirit of the Lord. And this is what we are seeing in the book of St. Luke when Jesus starts his ministry. He started his ministry in the temple, and he took the scroll of Isaiah and he read from it in a synagogue on a Sabbath day. And he said that the Spirit of the Lord is upon me, for he has anointed me to preach good news to the poor, to proclaim the year of the Lord, to bring liberty to those ones who are slaves, those who are in bondage. So Jesus fits in the words of Isaiah. Isaiah said the king could be anointed with the Spirit of the Lord to enable him preach good news and bring liberty to those who are in bondage and proclaim the year of the Lord. Isaiah changes his tone. He changes his topic from that of a great leader, from that one of a great righteous ruler who could rule with authority, to one who is very humble. You know, he introduces the character of a suffering leader. He talked of a suffering servant, that the Messiah could be a suffering servant. You see, we have been talking of greatness. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me to preach good news to the poor. And now here, he is talking about a suffering servant. He talked about the great titles, the wonderful counselor, mighty God, eternal Father, Prince of Peace. A prince is a son of a king. Later he's talking about that Messiah is a suffering servant. He brings it out very clearly that he grew up in a very humble home, a very humble background, a dry ground. The seed sprouted out from a dry ground. That is humility. Jesus Christ was born in a poor home. Isaiah talked of nobody could recognize him. So Jesus grew up like anybody else in the community. And then, you see, he has grown up in a very humble home, the home of a carpenter, not a man who is rich, against the Jewish expectations of the Messiah being born in a very rich home, in a home of a richest leader. Jesus was born in a home of a carpenter, very poor in status, lowly. Yes, Mary was just a village woman, but she feared God. She had the fear of the Lord. She was not forced to live a clean life. That was from her. She had the fear of the Lord. And so, Jesus was really born in a humble ground, a background, which Isaiah is saying, the seed or the plant sprouted out from a very dry ground, and nobody could recognize it. So you see, such a kind of a life is what is fulfilled in the life of Jesus Christ. But we are also saying that Isaiah talked of this leader. Isaiah said that he could be rejected by man. He could be rejected by man. He could also be despised. He could also be spat on. You know, people could spit on him. He was despised. He was rejected. He was chastised. And he said that through his stripes, we are going to receive healing. And now Jesus Christ was born. He was despised. He was rejected. He was chastised. And he was given stripes. And so we are saying that these predictions perfectly fitted in the life and ministry of Jesus Christ. Isaiah had also predicted that the Messiah could be buried in a rich man's tomb. He could be buried in a rich man's tomb. Now, if you think back, what could make somebody to be buried in another person's tomb? It is because he is very poor. He's just like a destitute. He doesn't have his own tomb. He cannot afford his own tomb. He also predicted that the Messiah could be mocked by his people. And Jesus was many times mocked by his own people. He also said that he could be wounded. He could be pierced. And indeed, Jesus was pierced on the cross. And he also said that Jesus could be crucified with criminals. He could be crucified with criminals. And we find out that Jesus was crucified with criminals, one on the left hand side and another one on the right hand side. And therefore, that is our lesson today. We have just talked about the predictions of Prophet Isaiah. He was a major prophet in the land of Israel, and he clearly spelled out or predicted about the coming of the Messiah. He said that he could be born of a virgin woman. He could be called Emmanuel. He could be called great titles, a wonderful counselor, a mighty God, an everlasting Father, and a Prince of Peace. And that is the prophecies of Prophet Isaiah. Thank you very much for being with us in this lesson.
Those are the Isaiah prophecies that point out to the coming of the Messiah. Kindly watch out for lesson 3. Remember to subscribe so that you can get the notification of the lesson as it comes up. We are grateful that you found time to learn with us.